Ina was only 14 years old when she began working as a maid in the Carvalho mansion. Orphaned by her mother and with an alcoholic father who barely remembered her existence, she had no choice but to accept the job to survive. The mansion was imposing, with its well-maintained gardens and expensive furniture, a completely different world from what Anna knew in her simple life in the outskirts of the city. Helena Carvalho, the mistress of the house, was a cold and demanding woman. From day one, she made it clear that Anna should be invisible, do her work without being noticed, like a silent shadow through the house's corridors. Mr. Roberto, always busy with his millionaire business dealings, barely noticed her existence. Daniel, the couple's only son, was 19 and preparing to study business administration abroad. Unlike his parents, he always treated Anna with kindness. Sometimes, when she was cleaning the library where he studied, they would talk about books and dreams. Anna, though so young, was intelligent and curious, always secretly borrowing books to read after work. Over time, Daniel began paying more attention to Anna. He would praise her work, leave small gifts, chocolates, used books, even an old cell phone he no longer used. Anna, in her innocence, saw in him the first true friend she had in life. One night, when Daniel's parents were away, he invited her to watch television in the living room. Anna knew she shouldn't, but loneliness and the desire for company spoke louder. One thing led to another, and Daniel, taking advantage of the girl's inexperience, seduced her. The encounters continued for several weeks, always in secret. Anna, confused and in love, believed that Daniel truly liked her. He promised that when she turned 18, they could be together for real. In her naivety, she believed every word. When the nausea started, Anna tried to ignore it, but her young body began showing signs of the pregnancy she so feared. Desperate, she confided in Daniel, hoping he would keep his promises. His reaction was very different from what she had imagined. "You're lying," he shouted, pale. "You want to blackmail me, is that it? You want money from my family?" Anna, crying, tried to explain that she only wanted his support, that she was scared. But Daniel, overcome by panic at seeing his plans ruined, did something that would change both their lives forever. He told his parents his own version of the story. According to Daniel, Anna had seduced him, trying to pull the pregnancy trap to get money from the family. Helena, horrified, wouldn't listen to the girl's explanations. Roberto, furious, expelled her immediately, threatening to call the police if she tried to return. "Tramp! Hussy!" Helena shouted while Anna gathered her few belongings in an old backpack. "I should have known, just like your mother who died in the gutter." Daniel watched everything from the stairs, in silence. His eyes met Anna's one last time, but he looked away, too cowardly to face the truth of what he had done. Anna left the mansion on a cold June night, with only the clothes on her back, a backpack with few belongings, and a broken heart. At 14, she was pregnant, alone, and had nowhere to go. The big city streets were frightening for a girl from the countryside. Anna wandered aimlessly, seeking shelter. She tried some support houses, but they all asked for documents she didn't have. Her father had disappeared months ago, taking her documents to sell. That first night, she slept on a park bench, huddled against the cold and fear. Her belly wasn't showing yet, but she could feel the life growing inside her. Through tears, she made a promise to the baby. "I'll take care of you. I won't abandon you like they did to me." The following days were a struggle for survival. Anna managed to get some temporary jobs, cleaning houses, washing dishes in restaurants, but she knew it would be harder once her belly started showing. Moreover, the constant nausea and pregnancy fatigue made work increasingly demanding. One particularly difficult night, Anna was sitting on a park bench, crying alone. She had just been evicted from the small room she was renting because she couldn't pay the rent. Her stomach ached with hunger, and the future had never seemed so uncertain. That's when an elderly man approached. He was pushing an old coffee cart, the kind common in the city centre. He had grey hair and a kind smile that reminded her of her deceased grandfather. "Would you like some coffee, girl?" he offered, extending a steaming cup. "Looks like you need it." Anna hesitated. She had learned the hard way not to trust strangers, but something in that gentleman's kind look made her accept. The coffee was hot and sweet, exactly the way she liked it. "My name is David," he said, sitting next to her on the bench. "Would you like to talk about what's troubling you?" And so, between tears and sips of coffee, Anna began to tell her story. She didn't know it yet, but that encounter would completely change the course of her life. David listened attentively to Anna's story, without judgment, just listening with compassion. As she spoke, he observed the details that told much more than her words. The worn clothes, the hole-ridden shoes, the calloused hands of a girl who was forced to grow up too fast. "I have a spare room at the back of my house," he said after a moment of silence. "It's not much, but it's clean and safe. If you'd like, you can stay there until you get settled." Anna looked at him with suspicion. It was too much kindness to be true. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. "You don't even know me." David smiled kindly. "Sometimes life puts us on the right path to help someone. Many years ago, I lost my daughter in similar circumstances. She was also pregnant, alone, and I wasn't around to help. Maybe by helping you, I can make up for some of that mistake." The small room was simple but welcoming, with a clean bed, a small bathroom, and a window overlooking a modest garden. David lived alone in the main house, an old but well-maintained building. To Anna, after so many nights on the street, it seemed like a palace. Gradually, Anna discovered more about her benefactor. David woke up every day at 4 a.m. to sell coffee downtown. He lived a simple life, always kind to everyone who crossed his path. His coffee cart was known in the area for serving the best coffee in the city, as loyal customers would say. What Anna didn't know, and would take time to discover, was that David wasn't just a simple coffee vendor. In fact, he was David Carvalho, owner of one of the largest coffee shop chains in the country. His habit of selling coffee on the street was a way to stay connected with real people, away from luxurious offices and endless meetings. With David's support, Anna began to rebuild her life. He took her to the doctor for prenatal care, bought vitamins, and ensured she ate properly. More important than that, he gave back to her something she had lost: dignity. "You may be only 14, Anna," he would say during their breakfasts, "but you have a strength inside you that few adults possess. This child will need that strength, and we'll make sure you have every opportunity to be the mother they deserve." David insisted that Anna return to school. He secured a place in an evening education program and personally made sure she didn't miss classes. During the day, he began teaching her the secrets of coffee, choosing the beans, the perfect roasting point, the importance of water temperature. Anna's belly grew, and with it grew her confidence. To her own surprise, she discovered she had a natural talent for business. She quickly learned about costs, sales, and customer service. David observed her progress with a proud smile on his face. One morning, while helping David with the coffee cart's accounts, Anna had an idea that would change her life even more. "What if we opened a small cafe here in the neighborhood? There are many offices nearby, but no place that serves really good coffee." David smiled, pleased with the girl's entrepreneurial thinking. "Go on," he encouraged. "We could start small," she explained excitedly. "A cozy space, serving quality coffee, some pastries. I'm sure it would be successful." What Anna didn't know was that her idea was exactly the kind of initiative David was looking for. For years, he had been seeking people with potential and willingness to grow to invest through his secret foundation. Anna's pregnancy progressed without complications. The doctor confirmed it would be a boy, and she chose to name him Lucas after the grandfather she loved so much. David accompanied her to all appointments, like a true father. It was during this period that Anna's life gained a new purpose. Besides preparing for the baby's arrival, she threw herself into her studies and plans for the cafe. David encouraged her, providing books about business management and teaching her everything he knew about the business. One afternoon, returning from a medical appointment, they passed by an empty shop. It was a small but well-located space, exactly the kind of place Anna had imagined for her cafe. It would be perfect, she sighed dreamily. David looked at the property with genuine interest. And why not? You have the knowledge, you have the willingness to work. We can sort out the rest. Anna stared at him, surprised. But I don't have money. I'm underage. Leave those details to me, David smiled. You take care of the important part, making the best coffee in the city. What Anna still didn't know was that that moment would mark the beginning of an even greater transformation in her life. David wasn't just offering a business opportunity, he was giving her a chance to rewrite her story. The following months were filled with intense work and preparation. David handled all the bureaucratic aspects, registering the cafe under his foundation's name until Anna came of age. She, in turn, devoted herself to learning everything about business management, dividing her time between studies, work, and prenatal care. The store renovation progressed quickly, transforming the empty space into a welcoming environment. Anna personally chose every detail, from the wall colors to the menu design. Her belly grew alongside her dreams, and at 15, she showed a maturity that impressed everyone. It was during this period that Anna accidentally discovered her benefactor's true identity. It happened one ordinary morning when she was leafing through a business magazine left behind by one of the renovation workers. Her eyes stopped on an article highlighting the 50 most influential businessmen in the country. There was David in an elegant suit, very different from the simple man who sold coffee on the streets. "Why did you never tell me?" she asked, showing David the magazine. He smiled serenely. "Because I wanted you to know me as a person, not as a businessman. Money changes how people treat us, not always for the better." The discovery only increased Anna's admiration for David. Even though he owned one of the largest coffee shop chains in the country, he chose to live simply and help anonymous people like her. "You know, Anna," David explained, "there are things money can't buy. The satisfaction of seeing someone transform their life, like you're doing, is worth more than any bank account." The cafe was completed a month before her expected delivery date. It was a charming space with rustic wooden tables, a handcrafted counter, and decor that mixed modern and cozy elements. Anna chose to call the establishment New Dawn Cafe, a name that represented her own story of beginning anew. The opening was an absolute success. The quality coffee, combined with the welcoming atmosphere and Anna's friendliness, won customers over from day one. Even with her enormous belly, she made a point of personally greeting everyone who entered. Lucas was born 2 weeks after the opening, in a smooth delivery without complications. David stood by Anna's side the whole time, holding her hand and giving her strength. When he held his unofficial grandson for the first time, the old businessman couldn't hold back his tears. "He's perfect," whispered Anna, exhausted but radiant. "Thank you for everything, David. Without you, I don't know what would have become of us." "You're my family now," he replied, kissing the forehead of the girl who had become like a daughter to him. David adapted a space in the cafe to be a nursery where Lucas could stay while Anna worked. He hired a trusted nanny and ensured the baby had all necessary comfort. The success of New Dawn Cafe exceeded all expectations. Within a few months, it was one of the neighborhood's most popular spots. Customers loved not only the exceptional coffee, but also the inspiring story behind the business. The young mother who, with help from a mysterious benefactor, had transformed her life. Anna turned 16 while managing her own business and caring for a healthy baby. Although it was an unusual life for a teenager, she felt fulfilled and grateful for each challenge she had overcome. It was during this time that the past came knocking at her door. An ordinary work morning was interrupted by an unexpected visit. Daniel Carvalho, now graduated and working in his father's company, entered the cafe. Upon seeing Anna behind the counter, his expression changed, a mixture of surprise, guilt, and something else she couldn't identify. "Anna, is it really you?" he asked, seeming disconcerted. Her heart raced, but her voice remained steady. "Yes, Daniel, it's me." At that moment, Lucas began crying in the nursery. The baby's cry echoed through the cafe, as if announcing that past and present were about to meet in a way no one could have predicted. The reunion with Daniel would mark the beginning of a new chapter in Anna's life, a chapter that would test her strength, her forgiveness, and her ability to move forward, no longer as a victim, but as a strong and successful woman. Anna faced Daniel, her heart pounding in her chest. He was different, more mature, wearing an expensive suit that reflected his new status as an executive in his father's company. His eyes, however, still carried that mixture of arrogance and insecurity that she knew so well. "What do you want?" she asked, keeping her voice firm despite her internal trembling. "I heard about your cafe." "People talk," he said hesitantly. "I needed to see it with my own eyes." Lucas's crying continued to come from the nursery. Anna noticed Daniel's gaze turning in that direction, an unspoken question in his eyes. "Yes, Daniel. That's your son," she said, deciding to face the issue directly. "The son you denied when I needed you most." Daniel turned pale. "Anna, I was young. I was scared. My parents—" You were young," she interrupted with a bitter laugh. "I was 14, Daniel. I was a child taking care of another child. You were 19, had a family, all the support in the world." At that moment, David appeared from the back of the cafe. He had heard the conversation, and his imposing presence made Daniel startle. "Any problem, Anna?" David asked, his voice calm but firm. "David Carvalho?" Daniel's eyes widened, recognizing the famous businessman. You know Anna?" "I know her very well," David replied. "I know her story, her character, and her strength, and I also know the cowardice of those who abandoned her when she needed them most." Daniel looked increasingly uncomfortable. David's presence, clearly protective of Anna, completely changed the situation's dynamics. "Anna," Daniel said, lowering his voice, "I came here because I want to do the right thing now. I want to know my son, take responsibility." Anna felt a mix of emotions, anger, hurt, but also a strange sense of liberation. "Now, after almost 2 years, after I went through everything alone, my parents, they found out about the cafe, about your success. They're sorry too," Daniel confessed. "They want to meet their grandson." "Oh, of course," Anna laughed humorlessly. "Now that I'm no longer the little maid, now that I have my own business, now I deserve to be recognized." "What changed, Daniel? Did money make me more worthy in your family's eyes?" David placed a hand on Anna's shoulder, offering silent support. She took a deep breath, regaining her composure. "Your son's name is Lucas," she finally said. "He's healthy, happy, and very loved. He has a wonderful grandfather." She looked fondly at David, who never needed DNA to love him. "But he has the right to know his family," Daniel insisted. "My parents can offer—" "Can offer what?" Anna interrupted. "Money. Status? Lucas doesn't need that. He needs love, respect, and moral example. Things your family proved not to have when they threw me out pregnant in the middle of the night." At that moment, The nanny brought Lucas to the room. The baby had stopped crying and was smiling, oblivious to the tension in the environment. It was impossible not to notice the resemblance to Daniel, the same eyes, the same face shape. Daniel looked at his son with an expression of amazement. He's beautiful, he mumbled. Yes, Anna agreed. And if you really want to be part of his life, you'll have to prove you deserve it. Not for me, but for him. How? Asked Daniel, seeming genuinely interested. First, by talking to your parents, Anna replied. Making them understand that if they want to know Lucas, they'll have to respect me as his mother. Second, by legally acknowledging paternity, not for the money, but because it's his right. And third, by proving you've changed, that you're no longer that cowardly boy who abandoned me. David, who observed everything in silence, noticed a subtle change in Daniel. The young man seemed to be really absorbing Anna's words, perhaps for the first time understanding the impact of his past actions. I accept, said Daniel. I'll do all that and more. Just give me a chance to do the right thing. Anna looked at Lucas, now playing quietly in the nanny's arms, and then at David, who nodded slightly in support. One chance, she finally said. But on my time and my terms. Lucas is the priority here, not your parents, not your guilty conscience. Daniel agreed, looking both relieved and apprehensive. Before leaving, he looked one last time at his son, then at Anna. You've changed, he said. You're stronger. No, Daniel, she corrected him. I've always been strong. You just never noticed. In the months that followed, Daniel kept his word. First, he had a serious conversation with his parents, Helena and Roberto, explaining the situation and demanding they respect Anna. The couple, initially resistant, gradually realized they would need to change their attitude if they wanted to be part of their grandson's life. Anna established clear rules for visits. The meetings started at the cafe, always with David present, until she felt confident enough to allow a closer relationship. Helena and Roberto, once so arrogant, now found themselves in a position where they had to prove they deserved to know their grandson. It's hard to admit, but we judged you unfairly, Helena said during one of the visits, visibly embarrassed. We let our prejudice and pride blind us. Anna listened to these words with mixed emotions. Forgiveness didn't come easily, but she knew Lucas deserved the opportunity to know all his family members, as long as they proved worthy of their place in his life. David remained her safe harbor. You're handling this better than most adults would, he said proudly. New Dawn Cafe continued to thrive. Anna, now 17, had become a respected businesswoman in the area. Her story inspired other young mothers, and she made sure to create employment opportunities, especially for women in vulnerable situations. Daniel began visiting Lucas regularly, always respecting the boundaries Anna had set. Over time, a cordial relationship developed between them. It wasn't love, that feeling had long since transformed, but a mutual respect for Lucas's sake. It was during this period that Anna discovered something surprising about David. One morning, he called her into his office. Anna, he began, do you remember when I told you about my daughter? She nodded. How could she forget the story that had brought them together? Well, it wasn't the whole truth, he continued. My daughter, she was your mother. Anna felt the world spin. My mother? David explained that he had been searching for his granddaughter for years, the daughter his daughter was carrying when she died. The meeting with Anna hadn't been coincidence. He had recognized her by her incredible resemblance to her mother. Why didn't you tell me before? Asked Anna, tears running down her face. I needed to be sure. And more than that, I wanted our relationship to build naturally, not out of blood obligation. David explained. "You achieved everything on your own merit, Anna. Your success is the fruit of your effort." That revelation changed everything and nothing at the same time. The love between Anna and David was already real, built day by day. The blood tie merely confirmed what their hearts already knew. Over time, the family found its own balance. Lucas grew up surrounded by love. He had a strong and determined mother, a father who had learned to take responsibility, grandparents who had learned valuable lessons about humility, and a great-grandfather who was a living example that kindness and success could go hand in hand. Anna transformed her story of pain into inspiration. She expanded the cafe into a chain of establishments, always maintaining her social mission of helping other women. She created a foundation with David to support young mothers in vulnerable situations. On her 18th birthday, Anna organized a party at the first New Dawn Cafe. The place was packed. Employees, customers who had become friends, her reconstituted family. David, emotional, made a toast to Anna, who taught us that a person's true value isn't in their birth, social class, or money. It's in their character, strength, and ability to transform adversity into opportunity. Anna looked around. At Lucas, now almost 4, playing happily. At Daniel, who had matured and become a present father. At Helena and Roberto, who had learned to see beyond appearances. And at David, her guardian angel, her grandfather, her greatest example. "You know," she said to David, "that night on the park bench when you offered me a cup of coffee, I thought it was the end of my story. But actually it was just the beginning." David smiled, his eyes shining with pride. Sometimes all we need is an opportunity and someone who believes in us. "And a good cup of coffee," added Anna, smiling. New Dawn Cafe remained there, a silent witness to a story of overcoming, forgiveness, and new beginnings. In its walls, the aroma of coffee mingled with the scent of hope, reminding everyone who entered that it's never too late for a new dawn. And Anna, the girl who was once thrown out pregnant from a mansion, was now an example that with determination, support, and love, any story can have a happy ending. Or better yet, a new beginning.